Everybody knows how important a great product idea is to a new venture. We've seen some examples. Sometimes, though, we lose sight of one other important component of a new venture's success, and that is the people. The people who are the innovative leaders who drive the invention forward. If you look at the first round of funding, Series A, for a new venture, potential investors tend to look not so much at the product or the market. They tend to look for confidence, if they can find it, in the inventors, in the leadership team that's going to manage this organization. The product often will pivot. The leadership team you're stuck with. And so it's important, if you're going to manage or launch new ventures, to have a great leadership team. My name's Dave Schmittlein. I'm the dean of MIT's Sloan School of Management. We're building great, innovative leaders, is what we do. It's actually a controversial sort of thing to try to accomplish. A lot of universities, a lot of business schools try to develop skills that are associated with innovative, successful leaders. Skills like communication skills and debating skills, strategic management skills, skills in building teams, often leavened with a bit of exposure to an inspiring leader. That approach has lots of cynics or skeptics or naysayers who would emphasize that skills are great, but skills are kind of around the edge. And what we need to do in thinking of effective, innovative leadership is to look at what's in the core. And the core, they argue, is not skills, but traits. You know the difference between skills and traits. Traits like courage, like resilience, like empathy, like honesty. The argument goes that that's what's really needed to build effective organizations, innovative organizations. Now, you know there's a problem with that because you remember what you learned about skills versus traits, right? Skills you can develop. Traits, after adolescence, we were told, are fixed. Courage, fixed. Honesty, fixed. Empathy, you got it or you don't. It's a bummer if you're trying to create effective leaders, because there's really nothing to do. In fact, research over the last 10 years has shown that everything you thought you knew about traits is wrong. Traits change in adulthood almost as much as they do in young adults and adolescents. Traits also can be changed if you want to change them, but you have to be willing. You have to decide that you want the experiences, and they are experiences. They aren't books, they aren't lectures, they're experiences. Some of them you heard about earlier, that would build those traits. So that's actually a focus for us at the MIT Sloan School, is to build the traits and the skills, sure, yes, but to build the traits that create effective, innovative leaders. Now we know, every business school knows, that you can make people learn accounting. They don't like it, but they'll do it. You can make them do it. But you can't make someone develop courage. You can't make someone develop resilience. You can't make someone develop empathy. They have to want to do it. They have to choose those experiences. So I want to tell you just for a couple minutes what we do to build those traits, and then we'll close. Let me take an example, empathy as a trait. There's actually very good research showing how people can build empathy if they want to. As you know, empathy is the ability to feel how others feel, to sense what other people care about. I hope it's pretty obvious to you that that's crucial to effective, innovative activity and leadership in that domain. The ability for employees to see that the leader understands them and cares about them, caring about customers and what they really care about, caring about the purpose of this organization in a society, are all aspects supported by an empathetic leader. So I said experience is the key. We design experiences that call on empathy. Those experiences tend to take our volunteer students into settings that are entrepreneurial, low infrastructure environments, often in developing economies or regions, where there's an existential threat or need or economic dislocation, and they're asked to work with that local organization to create some positive outcomes. They need to be brilliant. They need the management skills that they know. But they also need to bring their whole person. And the projects that they do call on their whole person. One example is USA Lab. USA Lab was developed 2 years ago by our faculty to bring our students opportunities in parts of the United States that have been left behind economically. And our students are designing new approaches to provide access to inclusive economic development in rural Iowa, in rural Maine, to develop new products based on the state's agriculture, and in the Mississippi Delta to bring credit at an affordable price to people who are interested in starting businesses or growing businesses. That's USA Lab in a nutshell. We have other kinds of lab courses that take our students as volunteers again, all over the world, to Ivory Coast, to Brazil, to the Philippines, and beyond. I'm proud of the economic outcomes, the social impact that those students are able to have. But it's a hard thing to say. We're not actually a social service organization. If all they did was to build economic opportunity, it wouldn't be enough for those courses. We have to know that our students come back from those experiences with the traits being built that we look for. We know they do anecdotally from our faculty. We know more systematically from the reflective surveys that they fill out about their experiences. We know, in short, that these experiential learning projects are building those traits that we talked about. Now, how do you know that a new class of students for the MIT Sloan School is going to choose those experiences? Well, here's a tip for any friend who's applying. We ask about it in the interview process in admissions. Not to ask them if they'll do these experiences. Everyone would say yes in order to get in. We ask them about experiences in their past where, for instance, they went beyond what was expected. Why did they do that? What were the consequences? What did they learn from that experience, and would they do it again? People who will choose these kinds of experiences once they get to MIT tend to be the people who have already chosen those kinds of experiences in their past. And when they do, they get the benefit. I joined MIT in 2007 to serve as dean. It was extraordinary in many ways. One of the most amazing experiences was seeing the depth and type and breadth of action learning, this kind of experiential learning, prompted by our faculty. They weren't doing it based on some top-down directive. You know that the MIT faculty don't care what deans think. They know. They were doing it because the school's mission is to develop principled, innovative leaders. It's not just something that's up on the wall to motivate them. In fact, it's a phrase that's up on the wall because it's what they actually do. And so, as a result, our students have spent more years with more entrepreneurial firms in more stressed countries and regions, developing those traits to be effective leaders. I hope you see that as part of a purpose for MIT's Sloan School and why we see ourselves as contributing to the idea that a better world is our business. Thank you.